St. Kitts, an island where your investment is welcomed as a priority, where opportunities await you in a variety of sectors including tourism, cutting-edge agriculture, renewable energy, financial services, international education, and light manufacturing. We are already number one in the OECS in light manufacturing exports to the United States of America. And we continue to be a hub for investment prospects in information technology, entertainment, and film industries. Our Citizenship by Investment program is the longest existing and best in the world. We continue to grow and invite you to grow with us. For globally competitive investment opportunities, invest in St. Kitts.
Thank you for joining us today as we present to you investment opportunities in St. Kitts. Firstly, allow me to introduce the St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agency. We are a government agency, and SKIPA is mandated to attract investments and to promote these sectors for investments. We have 4 arms: investment facilitation, investment promotion, advocacy, and aftercare services. And so I'll be the first presenter today. Then I'll have Mr. Stanley Jacobs, our investment promotion officer, who will be followed by Mr. Les Khan, the CEO of the Citizenship by Investment Unit. And so I will go into my presentation. While COVID-19 has had major impact on our countries globally, SKIPA continues in its efforts to aim to attract investments. We have been doing this strategically through upgrading and updating our website and through social media via LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So far, we have proven to be beneficial, and we do hope that the addition of webinars such as this morning will also add value to our efforts. Now, our prospects for growth in the real estate sector remains optimistic. We have seen an increase in this sector in 2020, and this growth continues in 2021. A number of large-scale projects are already under construction and/or at different stages of the approval process. Projects that halted due to the pandemic have now commenced, with 3 major projects scheduled to open in December of this year. At present, we have US $1 billion investment in the pipeline for 2021, up from approximately US $100 million in 2020. Now, our tourism industry is our main economic driver for the economy. This sector is also our most impacted sector by the pandemic, especially in areas such as cruise and air travel. However, with almost 70% of our targeted adult population vaccinated and the reduction in our quarantine time from 14 days to 4 days and now 24 hours, we are now seeing signs of improvement in this sector. Our airlifts continue to improve with weekly flights by American Airlines, British Airways, Air Canada, United, and Delta. We have also seen life in our cruise industry, where to date we have several cruise ships arrivals. With the addition of our second cruise pier in 2019, we saw the arrival of over 1 million cruise passengers, and our aim is to surpass this number, hopefully, in 2022. Medical tourism services is an area where we would like to see further investments. We have to date 1 privately owned facility, which is a large-scale facility offering a wide range of services. So we thrive to continue improvements in the tourism sector. We are focused on attracting high-end hotel and villa-type projects. We are also strategically seeking to attract investments in high-end restaurants to offer that form of dining experience. Investment opportunity also exists at Port Zante, an area zone specifically for the tourism industry that offers a luxury shopping experience. At the moment, plans are at an advanced stage for hotel development and a second marina in that area. We're also encouraging investments in recreational activities such as performing arts and a convention center, as these activities would provide support to our tourism industry and enhance our offerings. Now we're looking at our ICT sector, and we are moving towards digitization, and a digitization strategy is presently being developed. This strategy will help to reduce the processing time of applications and help to provide a faster decision-making process. And so we are moving in the digital space. Our central bank, that is the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, or the ECCB, has already launched its digital currency called Dcash, which will be used for financial transactions between consumers and merchants. So it will be a people-to-people transaction, all using smart devices. Sinkage has one of the highest internet and mobile penetration rates in the Caribbean region, and our internet broadband is available to support businesses in the ICT sector. In this sector, we do have nearshoring advantages in the development of business process outsourcing, or BPO. For example, with US companies in China looking towards moving to other countries, including the US, this lends the opportunity for us to try and attract some of these companies to our shores. And when we look at software development, there are opportunities in this area also, such as video gaming, robotics, artificial intelligence, and web development. And so when we speak of robotics, already some of our young adults are at an advanced stage in this field and have entered in competitions in countries such as the USA, Dubai, and within our region. And so we do have that talent available locally. When we look at the use of credit cards, we are fully equipped to accommodate global international credit cards. A recent new initiative by government in this area is the creation of a Ministry of Entertainment, which focuses on the creative industry and which includes film. And so in a few months' time, a number of films are expected to be produced on our little island. To support this sector, government is investing in educating and training our students locally and internationally in countries such as Taiwan, Cuba, and the United Kingdom. Now, in the light manufacturing sector, we pride ourselves as being #1 in the OECS in exports to the USA, with electronics and medical devices being our major exports, but we also export to Europe, Germany, and China. And so we export products such as motors, circuit boards, transformers, connectors, brushes, just to name a few. And most recently, ventilators to assist with the COVID-19 pandemic in the USA. Now, when we look at our agro-processing industry, we note that the industry continues to grow with a wide variety of local produced goods being manufactured, and we are looking to brand these products in the international markets. And to encourage investments in these sectors, we offer a wide range of incentives, including tax holiday of up to 15 years, waiver of import duty on items such as construction materials, furniture, and equipment. And this refers to whether one is constructing a hotel, a condominium development, a manufacturing plant, as well as other commercial type developments. In the manufacturing sector, however, there are added benefits. And so the incentives granted also include the waiver of the VAT. To expand our export base, our country entered into an agreement, that is the Economic Partnership Agreement, with the EU in 2008. And most Caribbean countries also entered into this agreement. Now, while this agreement offers many opportunities for us, so far we have seen progress in our export in this market, in services, mainly in the cultural services and professional services, most of which are in the area of consultancy. Another benefit for investment in these sectors is an approval under our Citizenship by Investment program. And many of our projects so far have been approved under the program. However, I will have Mr. Khan, who will expound on this in his presentation. And finally, when we look at international education, this is another sector that we have been aggressively promoting. When we look at opportunities in this sector, to date, we have 4 accredited international schools offering medicine, veterinary education, and we also have 1 recognized diving school with a combined population of approximately 4,100 students. I would like to highlight that in order for any school to operate, they must first meet the standards set by our accreditation board before an approval to operate can be granted. And so we do have a legal framework in place to facilitate this sector. Thank you. I have reached to the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening. I will now turn you over to Mr. Stanley Jacobs, our Director of Investment Promotion. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm extremely delighted to be here on behalf of the Sinkage Investment Promotion Agency to present on this topic, sustainable investment for a brighter future. My name is Stanley Jacobs. I'm the Director of Investment Promotion at the Sinkage Investment Promotion Agency. I'll go straight into my presentation. The COVID-19 exposed our country's vulnerability to food security, disruption in the global supply chain. The Caribbean region is one of the most food insecure regions on the planet. The food import bill in the Caribbean was estimated at around $4.98 billion in 2018. In Sinkage, we import more than 80% of the food we consume. So of course, this creates tremendous vulnerability for us as a small island state. Our vulnerability is in our continued heavy reliance on imported food, which is not sustainable. And so the government of Sinkage and Nevis, and in particular SKIPA, the Sinkage Investment Promotion Agency, is putting policies and measures in place to attract investment in 2 key sectors, the high-tech agriculture sector and the renewable energy sector. In relation to agriculture, of course, the obvious question is, how can we achieve this? The global pandemic has brought into focus the shortcomings of our current agricultural practices. There is now greater need to accelerate the deployment of modern agricultural technologies and digital solutions for agriculture. Sinkage is embracing technology to build food security. The introduction of new technologies presents major opportunity to accelerate food security, create jobs, attract investment. And so the obvious question is, how can this be achieved when conventional wisdom has been that we simply do not have the land space to produce on a scale that is required to make us food secure? The answer is by moving away from traditional agricultural practices of the past to what is termed high-tech agriculture. For us in Sinkage, the introduction of new technologies presents a major opportunity to attract investment. Embracing technology in agriculture makes sense since it allows us to produce more with less, making food production more efficient. The introduction of artificial intelligence, analytics, connected sensors, and other emerging technologies could further increase yields, improve efficiency of water and other inputs, and build sustainability and resilience across crop, animal husbandry, and agro-processing. Of course, Sinkage, being a very tiny island, is extremely challenged in relation to land space for traditional large-scale farming. And as such, we have now shifted our focus to focus more on agricultural practices that utilize less land space, but produce more. Some of these technologies include greenhouse farming, aquaculture, and hydroponics. Sinkage has identified high-tech agriculture as a priority to attract local and foreign direct investment to stimulate capital inflows. A key component of the government's Build Back strategy for a better economy post-COVID is a heavy focus on attracting investment flows in the high-tech and renewable agriculture sector, Opportunities for investment in the high-tech agriculture sector exist along the food value chain. Investment in agriculture, investment in agro-processing, packaging, storage, distribution. All these components of the agriculture or the food supply chain provides opportunities for one to invest. In terms of green energy, seismic shifts are taking place in the global economic architecture as countries accelerate efforts to transition to green and clean economies. In 2015, at the COP21 or the UN Climate Conference, world leaders signed the landmark Paris Agreement. This is anticipated to unlock large investments for clean energy projects. Investment in renewable energy presents massive opportunities in what is termed the new economy. What impact will the new economy have? Well, let's look at this. In Sinkage, we welcome investment in the energy sector from companies that are at the forefront of green technologies, with a heavy focus on photovoltaic and wind, two of the most relevant technologies in our region. Of course, we also very focused on attracting investment in waste to energy and also geothermal energy. The transition to the new green economy will present opportunities for higher paying jobs and economic growth. Energy impacts every aspect of the economy and the cost of doing business. And so it is very critical for us that we focus heavily on these two key sectors as part of our Build Back Better strategy. And those sectors are high-tech agriculture and investment in renewable energy. At the Sinkage Investment Promotion Agency, we have begun the groundwork, or we have begun to lead the work to attract these investments. We are putting together a catalog of investment opportunities, that is, projects that are ready and seeking investment in order to take them to the next level of production. Already in existence, we have the Sinkage Aquaculture project. The targeted investment here is $2 million. This project already has CBI approval and has already completed phase 1. this project is looking for joint venture, partnership, debt to equity. We also have opportunity for investment in a waste to energy project, a 3.5 megawatt waste to energy project. The cost, US 40 million, with other spin-off benefits for other sectors. This investment is looking for 30% equity investment into this project. In other agriculture projects already in existence, there are 4 greenhouses are currently in operation that need investment to reach their full potential. Our office is currently gathering this information to bring this information to potential investors. We are also extremely eager about investment in wind energy. Opportunities also exist for wind energy investment to take this project to the next level. So what is required to transition to a more sustainable economy? Policy, measures, and private investment. SKIPA, the Sinkage Investment Promotion Agency, along with the government of Sinkage and Nevis, and the other sectors in relation to the agriculture sector and the energy sector, has already begun the process of putting these policies in place and these measures in place. And so now we're now seeking private investment to take these projects to the next level. New investment structures such as the citizenship by investment alternative investment option as a means of raising capital for the type of investments that we have discussed today. SKIPA is working assiduously to start SKIPA is working assiduously at steering both local and foreign direct investment into these sectors, starting with the creation of its investment opportunities catalog. Our investment opportunities catalog is a list of projects that are seeking investment through joint venture, equity, loans, and other forms of investment vehicles in order to move these projects to the next level to realize their full potential. SKIPA is working towards the publication of this catalog in the not too distant future. And so I will end my presentation here and turn you over to Mr. Lescan, the CEO of the Citizenship by Investment Unit, who will expound more in relation to the opportunities that are available for investment, in particular, the opportunities that are now available under the new alternative investment option. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Les Khan. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Sinkage and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Program. As many of you are aware, the program is the longest running program in the world since 1987. It's a legacy program, and it is now the platinum brand. In Sinkage and Nevis, we have several opportunities for investment in the CBI program. First is the real estate. Real estate option is divided into 2 categories. One is the share option, which is the $200,000, in which the client must hold the share for a total of 7 years before it's sold again. In option B in the real estate, it's $400,000, in which the client holds the share or the property for 5 years before being able to resell. The benefits of the real estate option is that in some cases with a share, you will get a rate of return. And some of the developments might give a rate of return of between 4 and 5%. Others may have a rental income element to it, so that you will be entitled to the rental income of the property. The general performance of investments under the option, it will be worth my while to talk about what developments have completed in Sinkage and Nevis. We had the Park Hyatt, which sold shares originally, We had the Marriott hotels, the Four Seasons Villas and the resort. We had the Hamilton Beach Resort, and we have the Ramada Hotel, which is phase 1 has been completed, and phase 2 is now going to start construction. We have Tea Loft, which is one of those developments that was scheduled to be open this year, but because of COVID, it's now going to be open up next year as they finalize their construction. There are other developments that are in various stages of construction. And as an investor, it would be worth your while to do your research, investigate, and you can see these investment opportunities listed on my website. Alternatively, you have the ability to invest in a fund or to at least contribute to a fund. The fund is a Sustainable Growth Fund. The Sustainable Growth Fund currently is on a limited time option. So right now, the investment opportunity there is $150,000 for a family of 4. Benefits of the Sustainable Growth Fund is that there is less paperwork, and generally the process will be faster than the real estate option. Under this option for the investor, the funds go directly into the government's consolidated fund, and it is used for things like social economic factors. It is used for things like roads, also along the lines of during the hurricane season, roof repairs, poverty alleviation. These are all different projects that emanate out of the CBI, and the fund is one of these avenues that generates revenue for the government. The new escrow regulation, and there are a lot of questions coming out on this, because people wonder how is it affecting applications. Well, any real estate investor and any real estate developer must have an escrow document, an escrow agreement between the developer and the client. We implemented this legislation to ensure 2 things. 1, that the client's investment is protected, and 2, that construction is complete. So we have ensured that regardless of the price that a developer sells his share for, or his title, or his unit, the money must go into escrow, and the money must be used for construction. And the funds will only be released based on a payout schedule that has to be approved by cabinet. Now, the client does not suffer in this process at all, because it is the developer's responsibility to put the funds in escrow. The client gets his certificate of registration the moment that the developer places the fund in escrow. So one piece of advice to investors is to ensure that you are purchasing your share or title with a reputable developer who has the means to put the funds in escrow, and who has the means, therefore, to release the funds or to release your certificate of registration as and when it's approved by the unit. There are a number of questions coming on the alternative investment option. And the alternative investment option, as I had mentioned before, is based on targeted projects. And these projects are government projects and private projects. The idea behind it is that we will have private funding for these projects. in which either the state will own the project or they will be privately owned. The structure varies depending on the project. If it's state-owned, then there are some incentives that are given to the developer to be able to recover their investment. If it's private-owned, it means that it's not a hotel, it's not a condominium, it's outside of the original structures that we've had historically. Benefits of the alternative investment option is along the lines of, let's say, agriculture. One of our projects is an aquaculture project that has been started. Another one is renewable energy. So we will be looking for investors who can come into St. Kitts and Nevis willing to invest their monies and start one of these projects, and in return get citizenship by investment as a means of recovering some of their investment. The process for alternative investment options is obviously to have a good business plan, to be able to come to SKIPA and to be able to present their project, advise the government of the benefits, advise the government of the structure that it will come with, and it will be considered through a committee who will then make a presentation to cabinet. And these alternative investment options will go a long way into building and improving in the infrastructure of St. Kitts and Nevis. Private homes option is one of those that we had implemented early this year. And the requirement is that any home on the island can be sold under citizenship one time only. It cannot be for resale after the first sale of citizenship. And it must meet certain criteria. The criteria is the owner must have full title of the property. The value of the property or the home must be $400,000 US. And to be able to qualify under the CBI, the individual purchasing the property must meet all of the requirements under the Citizenship by Investment Program. I'd like to talk about the fast track. This is a question that we keep being asked about. And the fast track is an accelerated application process. We have been able to implement this because we were able to process re-engineer our whole operations. We have been able to ensure that an application goes from one point to the next point as quickly as possible. In addition to this, we have been able to negotiate with our due diligence providers so that they can put that application ahead of all other applications. And this comes at a cost because they have to have resources to do that. I have to have resources to do this. So the accelerated application process is one that costs a lot more. I think it's $25,000 for the main applicant, $20,000 for the second dependent and the other dependents. But it allows the applicant to get his application processed within a record time between 45 and 60 days. And through the additional costs, we are able to pay the due diligence providers. We are able to ensure that the process goes through quickly. Why is it a popular choice? Because a lot of, it depends on the time of the year. A lot of business people want to apply for their families, but they don't want to wait for that citizenship for themselves. They would not mind the family taking 3-4 months to get processed, but because of travel requirements, business requirements, they would ask for the accelerated program, and we can facilitate that. St. Kitts and Nevis is a leading innovative technology. We were the first program to implement an end-to-end process. We were the first program to implement a system that was open 24/7. So our local service providers can put in applications into the system 24/7, which means that the unit gets the application faster than they would normally have to. The system allows the local service provider to key in all of the relevant information and then submit the file to the unit. And the hard copies are then accompanied later. One question before was, how did COVID impact us, the unit? Well, actually, because of us having the system, we were able to take files electronically because clients were having difficulties in getting documents and getting things shipped to us. So we were taking files electronically, starting the process, starting the due diligence, getting it into the flow so that we weren't delayed by many days or months like other programs might have been affected. So our system has allowed us that flexibility. St. Kitts and Nevis is branded as a platinum brand for its due diligence, and I cannot emphasize that more than what I have done already. We do go through a very rigorous process of due diligence. We do start the process at the agent. When the agent gets the client, the agent has to do a KYC, know your client, or anti-money laundering check on the individual. They should do high-level DD check to see if there are any skeletons in the closet, and highlight to the client that the unit will identify any issues if they're not being upfront with us. Once that's done and they've gone through that screening, the file will be sent to a local service provider. Now, local service providers are regulated by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. And one of the things we have mandated is that they too do a KYC and an AML check on the client. So we want the local service provider to have as much information on the file that they are submitting to us. When we get the file and we verify the documents, we then send it to two different channels. We send the file to what we call an international due diligence company. And the international due diligence company will do media searches, try to gather as much information from the internet, from social media, from whatever channels they can. But in addition to that, the international due diligence companies have what we call boots on the ground. They have agents in the location of where that client is coming from. So part of the due diligence process is for them to have their sub-agent discreetly check all of the information that the client has provided on his application, his salary, his place of employment, his marriage certificate, his birth certificate, how many children he has. All of that information is verified discreetly or through government channels. So our due diligence person on the ground will do all of those checks. And if that person has lived more than 2 years in any location, the same has to apply in any location that he has lived. So there will be checks in those areas. The report then comes back to the unit, and then the unit will go through what we call a vetting process. But the vetting process is not complete because there's a fourth area of due diligence that is also occurring at the same time. When we send the information to the due diligence company, we also send the information to what we call international law enforcement. And that's a group in the Caribbean who has access to multiple databases. They have access to the EU database, the UK database, the US database, Canada database, and they will be able to identify if this person is flagged in any one of those databases for anti-money laundering, for criminal activity, terrorist financing, terrorist activity, links to terrorism. All of that will be flagged by that international law enforcement. So our decision on a client takes into consideration all of these due diligence processes. But if international law enforcement flags the person as a security risk, then there is no proceeding further with that application. Most people ask me, well, why else can I get refused in Sinkage? And one of the biggest reasons is that you have been refused a visa from a country that we have visa-free access to. So most people get refused a visa from the UK. All right, so if the agent has not screened that UK visa refusal and we find it, it's an automatic denial because we cannot grant citizenship to an individual who has been refused a visa. Now, how do you get around this? You apply for a visa, you get an updated visa, you bring it to us, we check it, and you will get approved if you've been granted the visa. If you have not been granted the visa, then our position stands, you are denied. Okay, so again, we ask all the clients to disclose any information on any visa refusals. Obviously, a visa refusal from the US or Canada, we don't have free visa access to them. So therefore, the law doesn't apply to that. But we do want everybody to be honest with us, because we will find out. And if it's a serious enough situation, we will deny. Because these situations may represent reputational risk to the country. The third part of that too is if the person does not disclose the information on the application form and we find out something, that means they lied on the application, and that's a reason for denial. So just something to highlight to you. And this is what makes Sinkage and Nevis different. We are reasonable. We look at all options. We know that clients love Sinkage and Nevis. We know that agents love to work with us. But we ask that everybody be as honest and upfront in the application process. So one question that shows up here is, what advice would you give to an investor looking at the Sinkage program via the investor route or the donation route? If an investor is looking at the investor route, I would ask him to be aware of the development that he wants to invest in, and to do his own due diligence, ask some questions. All right, don't necessarily let the agent lead you down a path. Ask your questions. The route of the donation, as I said, the limited time offer is standing for the rest of the year. This is a good option, but that's a donation. There is no return on investment. That's a straight donation, but the pricing of that could be less than the pricing on the real estate side. Some points I'd like to just highlight while I'm here. There are a lot of agents out there who are not registered with Sinkage and Nevis. Be aware of those agents. You don't have to be registered with my program to be selling Sinkage and Nevis. But as an applicant, do your due diligence. You can call the embassy in Abu Dhabi now. You can call the unit and ask us, or just look on our website and see who is a registered agent for Sinkage and Nevis. Some of these agents work with what we call international marketing agents, and it will be best to contact the international marketing agent. But know who your agent is. There are a lot of people out there trying to discredit our program. It's a competitive world. You know, they will say things like, don't buy Sinkits because you will lose your passport in 10 years. That will not happen. Once you have gone through the proper process of due diligence, proper documentation, your citizenship stands and your passport will be renewed, unless, of course, you did something bad and now represent a reputational risk to the country. So that's the guidance that I will give for any investors. I'd like to say thank you to BLS for allowing me to be interviewed and to represent Sinkits and Nevis. It was a pleasure being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the Middle East or other parts of the world as I travel. And I look forward to seeing your application as it comes into Sinkits and Nevis. Thanks a lot.
Excellent, everyone. Mr. Freight and Mr. Stanley Jacobs, are you, if you can kindly turn your camera on? Brilliant. Well, it's like being in a supermarket. Which questions do you choose?
What we will do, first of all, thanks Stanley and Les for your presentation. We have quite a number of questions being posed to us already, and I understand we do have additional questions coming in. What we'll do, we will try our utmost best to answer as much questions as we can. However, we may not be able to answer all questions, and so we would respond to the other questions we're not able to deal with today via email. So if you'll be with us. Our first question we have is, I'd like to know all the details concerning business startup in the architecture field. And to this we'll say, first of all, one is required to obtain a business license and then apply for a work permit. The business license, however, must accompany a proposal, which you will submit to SKIPA, and we will facilitate the processes on your behalf. Once you've obtained the business license, then you will apply for a work permit. The work permit comes in after the business license, and then you can establish as long as you have all approvals. Then we have a question regarding someone who is Lebanese and is now in Armenia. Like to know what documents they would use if they are to come to our country. If you have dual citizenship, it's your decision to use which passport you would like to travel. If you only have one, then you use the one that you have to travel with. Then we have a question, what is the minimum capital that is needed to invest in Sinkits and Nevis? Well, at present, there's no minimum requirement. However, if you're referring to our Citizenship by Investment Program, then there is a minimum investment of $200,000. And that is a real estate option under our CBI program. Our next question, what happens after 5 years of your investments in real estate? I assume here that that question is referring again to our CBI program. We encourage and we highly welcome further investments once one have made an initial investment. Now in the real estate option, there is a 5-year plan which one is required to sell that property that they would have invested in. However, if you're interested in investing further, you don't necessarily have to wait for that 5-year to pass. You can invest in any other area that you're interested in. If you prefer to wait until that 5-year, there's no limit. The investment is highly welcome. Then we have another question. Does the government give a grant if a major investment is made for packaging factory? Unfortunately, we do not provide grants for investment, but financing can be sought through our financial institutions. Go to our next question. Since a company is associated with medical hospital services, they would like to know the best way to cooperate in the sake of establishing medical or healthcare facilities. And to this we say, first you will submit your proposal, a detailed proposal. SKIPA will review your proposal, will provide the necessary guidance. Your proposal will also be submitted to our medical board, who will review and provide the necessary guidance regarding the service that you are interested in. Once the necessary approvals are granted, your business can be established. I'll have Mr. Jacobs address a few of these questions that we have posted. And Mr. Jacobs, you can go straight into it.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Freight. Thank you very much, BLS Media. I will turn my attention now to some of the questions that have been coming in quite rapidly. The first question I want to address is from Ibrahim, who said our company is looking to invest in the field of recycling and environmental saving. What opportunities are available? Of course, we are keenly interested in, as I pointed out during my presentation, in a waste to energy project. That project solved many problems for us, the issue of waste collection and also the issue of energy production. Because we are a very small country, the whole issue of feedstock for recycling will be a challenge for us. Nonetheless, we still invite you to submit your application for a recycling plant that we will renew. Safin says, since I have my own company and I am a shareholder in a solar power factory, I want to ask, can we make solar electronic power on the grid system in Sinkage? Is it possible? As I indicated in my presentation, solar energy is one of the energy that we are keenly interested in. However, I must note at this time that approval has already been granted for a 35.5 megawatt solar farm. That project has started, and so we will continue to accept application, but just to let you know that approval has already was already granted. Elizabeth Waham says, unpacking the term smart farming to understand the areas of focus for opportunities in high-tech agriculture. Of course, those areas for us exist in farming, which is using shaded farming, aquaculture, and hydroponics and other smart farming techniques. The reason why these areas are very interesting to us is because they utilize less land space and produce higher yields. And that is something that is critical for a small country. And let me see what else I have in relation to how much land is available for agri-farming. I think I addressed that question before. Right. There is a question about the Bushan says we are pioneers in the medical cannabis products. And so there's some interest there. What we could say is that the government has already introduced legislation to legalize and promote medical marijuana. So that is also an area that we are keenly interested in attracting investment. And there is a question about vertical farming. Again, this is in line with our focus on smart farming farming that utilize less land but produce higher yields. So if you have any farming ideas, business ideas and investment along the lines of smart farming, farming that utilizes less land, that is heavily reliant on technology, that is the kind of farming that we are keenly interested in. You're welcome to submit your application, submit further inquiries. We are available to provide further information to you in relation to these type of investments. I know some other questions came in while we were speaking. And so Sam, I would allow you to read through those and if you can put them up on the screen.
Stanley, before we go there are a few other questions that we already have that I would like to address as we move forward. And so we have a question here from Jonathan. He wants to know about our due diligence process that we have for the new investment options. And so we have two due diligence processes. One is under our CBI program, and that is conducted through the CBI Investment Unit. Other due diligence that is conducted is through SKIPA, where a proposal comes to us and the foreign investors or foreign directors in the company, due diligence are conducted on those persons. And the due diligence is processed through our Financial Services Regulatory Commission. There's another question from Ms. Truss. What are the specific areas of investment you would wish to pursue in Canada, and what are the related incentives, if any? So to give an idea, we are interested in high-tech agriculture, including vertical farming. I think Stanley spoke to some of these before. Hydroponics, high-end hotel development, villa-type development, investment in ICT, such as software development and manufacturing, items such as medical devices. So these are some of the areas that we are specifically targeting. Now, the incentives that one can benefit from include if you're constructing a building to carry out the nature of your business, then you have the waiver of import duty on the building materials or construction materials, equipment, plant, etc. So these are some of the benefits that could be obtained through your investment in these developments. We have a question from John. John says, what is the average time for planning permission for real estate development and the procurement of it if it is refused? Now, the average time for processing the plans when they go to our building board is approximately 1 month. The process, of course, is facilitated through the building board. The board usually provides guidance. So there are very rare cases where an application goes before and is denied. However, if an application is denied, there is an appeal process that can help you to obtain an approval. Then we go to Cynthia. Cynthia asks about how long can a buyer from the date of purchase get citizenship? There are two options. Mr. Khan spoke to them in his presentation. There is a fast track option, which takes up to 45 days. And then there is a normal processing time, which is about 90 days. Then we go to Hattie. Hattie wants to know what are the current occupancy rate in real estate and how has COVID affected us. COVID has had a major negative impact on the globally. And so we of course have been impacted as well. And so at present, our rate is very low, between 15 to 20%. However, with the increase in our airlifts, we expect our numbers to start increasing as well. John is asking if there's a requirement on job creation or employment or for locals. Of course, we encourage strongly, once investors are interested in investing in the island, we ensure that locals benefit from these investments, and so we encourage the creation of new jobs. BLS, that's the questions we have before us. Sorry, one more. There's a Brian. Brian would like to know how many countries we have visa-free access to. Brian, we're proud to say we have free access to over 150 countries. And most recently, we added 3 new countries, namely Burkina Faso, Gabon, and Palestine. So this comes to the end of the questions we have before us. We can take a few more questions.
We have questions about local mobility and local the talent skills we have in the island. Would you like to the skill sets and the labor you have on the island in terms of recruitment purposes?
There is a feedback in the mic. Stanley, are you hearing him clearly?
Yes, I think the question is in relation to the labor force.
Yes.
Just to answer to say that Sinkage and Nevis have a very skilled labor force. We have a 98% literacy rate in education. There is a lot of investment in skills training and education through the local college that students can pursue training in any technical field that will give them the skills to go out into the working world. So there is a adequate supply of skilled workers coming through the education system.
So a lot of people are asking, who do they contact SKIPA to expand their investment? Questions they might need. Who would they speak to? Would that be Mr. Jacobs, Ms. Freights, or do you have other people that deal with different sectors?
I'm not hearing it clearly.
Yes, all business proposal, business inquiry is submitted to SKIPA. Either myself or Mrs. Dorita Freights, who is the head of the agency. We will review all application. If we require additional information, we will seek those additional information, and we will be happy to pursue those investment leads. I did remember seeing a lot of questions coming up about high-tech agriculture and renewable energy, but in particular, high-tech agriculture. And so we're extremely pleased that there's a lot of interest in this area. And we invite you to send in your additional inquiries or your proposals so we can look at them. We're keenly interested in agriculture practices that utilizes less land, vertical farming, hydroponics, greenhouse farming, these type of agriculture practices, and also with a heavy reliance on the new emerging technology that is now available, that makes investment in agriculture, that makes agriculture attractive, in particular for young people, in terms of creating employment for young people.
Okay. And if I may add, once the proposal is submitted to SKIPA, if there are any other requirements, any other needs that the investor is requesting, for example, if you need to apply for a license, if you're trying to obtain land through government to establish your business, we assist in facilitating all of these areas. And so we try to relieve you with that burden and provide that assistance.
Again, we have a question in terms of Ms. Akira. Want to know about the tax systems and if you have any tax incentives for new companies or FDI.
Yes, we do have incentives. We offer incentives. Well, when it comes to when it comes to taxes, So you have incorporated tax and you have corporated companies that pay taxes. Now, one of the incentives we offer is a tax holiday. The tax holiday runs from 3 up to 15 days. And of course, this depends on the nature of your business, the size of your business. And other incentives we offer include waiver of import duty. And in some cases, like the manufacturing sector, we have the waiver of the VAT. There is once your tax holiday have expired, so if you were granted a 5-year tax holiday and that expires, then you're expected to pay the corporation tax now at 25%.
Okay, we have a question from April Claxton. It's to do with the CBI. It's if the applicant is denied a citizenship for St. Kitts and Nevis, but is able to get a UK visa, he or she, the investor, reapply, and would they likely to be approved? So if they be denied and then they get a visa for the UK, would they be able to reapply again for the CBI program?
That would depend on the reason for the denial. Mr. Khan is not with us to answer this question, which will be best for him. However, it would all depend on the reasons for his denial. And I do not think there's any specific time frame where one may have to reapply, but the Citizenship by Investment will be best able to guide them through that process.
There's a question in terms of, I think the unit will be coming up with a catalog soon in terms of outlining that program. When would that be available?
Yes, we're working very, very hard to have this catalog be available for publish within the next month. We have already started gathering, as I presented on my slides, a number of projects that are investment ready. These are projects that are ready to go, and they have all the necessary mechanisms in place. They just need a financing mechanism to take them to the next level. And so we will be putting out this information. The way it will work is that the St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agency, we will be playing a matchmaking role where we will be our objective is to put the businesses in touch with the potential investors. And once we make that connection, then it's between the businesses and the potential investors to work out the arrangement. Really our objective is to attract investment into these businesses.
We actually have an investor that's been trying to get the government in terms of establishing an educational institution. How can they further expand that idea and proposal of business plan to really make this tradition, I guess? We really are keen to open up an educational institution on that island.
Yes, but this is a project that we will be very interested in. As indicated in the presentation given by Mrs. Dorita Frakes, we already have 4 educational institutions, student population of over 4,000 already in existence. And there is a process. The person can submit that business proposal to our office at SKIPA. The school will have to go through a vigorous accreditation process accredited by the St. Christopher Nevis Accreditation Board. Once the school is able to receive accreditation, because they will look at the curriculum, the teachers, the proposed physical facility, the degrees that will be conferred on the students. So if there is a strict accreditation process, and once the proposed school is able to obtain accreditation, then that business then will most likely be able to receive approval. So the sooner we can get that business proposal, we can begin to work on that.
So we have a lot of questions. If we spend another 44 minutes, if we answer the 44 questions and the 50 plus in Facebook, I think it's going to be for another hour. You're going to be in Dubai soon, aren't you, for the expo? The investors that are based or people based in the Middle East, how can we reach out to you at expo?
Yes, I didn't get the question clearly, Sam, but
sorry, my question was, we have a lot of questions here. We have a lot of questions on Facebook. We're going to be an hour. The investors that are coming from the Middle East, could they meet up with your team at Dubai Expo 2020?
yes, definitely. We have a team on the ground at Expo Dubai 2020. I want to take this opportunity to welcome and invite persons to visit the Sinkage and Nevis Pavilion. We have a very knowledgeable staff here that will be able to answer your questions. SKIPA, Sinkage Investment Promotion Agency, will be in Dubai for Expo 2020. We'll be putting on an investment forum. And so this is another opportunity to invite the persons that are in that region to come out to the investment forum. You will be able to meet us one-on-one, face-to-face, and to have further discussions in relation to the investment opportunities that we discussed today.
In addition, just to say, we have had quite a few persons already reached out to us, and we are engaging in them to meet with them in Dubai. What we will provide for you via email are our dates when we will be there and the location where we can have these meetings.
Excellent. Is there any other questions that stand out for you? Because I know Ms. Frank's on a flight or back-to-back meetings. I know there's a question for someone in terms of wishing to do the donation route. I guess that is for the CBI unit. Please, a member of the team from SKIPA will be in touch with you, talk to you about pursuing the donation. Yeah. Can we get a bit of an answer in terms of fossil fuels and biofuels? Would that be expand on that a bit?
We welcome Sinkage. We welcome investment in a host of energy solutions, and so once it is an energy solution that would make sense in terms of reducing the cost of energy, that is something that we definitely will look at. We know there are a lot of different technologies that are now coming on stream, and biofuel is one of them. So it is something that we definitely can look at and welcome.
Excellent. Brilliant. Ms. Freights, do you have anything that stands out for you from the questions, or would you, because we have, they're just coming, we've got more coming from Facebook. We'll end up spending 2 hours here.
While we're very happy for the questions coming forward, and we welcome them coming forward, unfortunately, we will not be able to answer all questions today. You have those questions, we will respond to them via email. Once again, we want to thank all who participated today. This is another avenue that we have embarked, like most other companies, to try to attract the investments to our shores, to try and promote our sectors for investment. COVID-19 has taught us to do things differently, and so we are trending on that path, and we hope that the information provided today have been useful. Anything that was not clear, we welcome you to email us, call us, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. So once again, thank you to BLS. Thank you to those who are participating, and we welcome your questions. Continue the questions. We'll be checking our emails frequently, and we'll provide the answers as we can.
I know a lot of people want the email address for SKIPA. You will get it now. And we are going to now deploy a poll please, it's important we get our feedback. It's deployed now, so we can analyze this and, of course, get back to you in a timely manner. As you can appreciate, there must be hundreds of thousands of questions coming to the unit. They will try their utmost best. Please be patient with them in terms of their response. But I know that they work tirelessly dealing with international inquiries, so that they can't get back to as frequently as they wish. So, Mr. Jacobs, would you like to say something? And just as a final remark, as wonderful as Ms. Freites has done.
Again, Sam, and thank you to BLS for providing the platform for us to be able to network and dialogue virtually with potential investors and stakeholders about the business climate in Sinkage. We are very happy with the feedback today, and so I want to thank everyone. And we want to say the email address for SKIPA is office@investsinkage.can, and Sam with BLS Media will provide further information to you. So those of you who want to send your email right away, it's office@investsinkage.can. I want to say thank you to everyone. We look forward to seeing you at Expo Dubai 2020 if you're in the region, and we look forward to continuing more networking, more dialogue with you in terms of attracting sustainable investment in order to build a stronger, build that better economy post-COVID-19. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you so much. I'm noticing we're 89% in everyone being satisfied, and it's met your expectations. Please, we want more polls completed so we can get 100% on the expectations. Brilliant. So thank you, Ms. Freites. Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Thank you so much for your time and your energy. And I'm really pleased that you're making a lot of headways in innovative ways down to business. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It's a wonderful experience. We'll turn off our cameras, but you can carry on voting, and I'm sure we will share the results to the unit, and hopefully it will be a very good experience for them. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much again, BSL, and thanks again to all.